Sir, I was just there, sir. I gotta go most out of my way for this crutches guy, but if I don't go for him first, I could, nah. Like usual, there isn't necessarily like a optimal path. They're kind of scattered everywhere, and I'll have to go in an awkward direction at some point. You can see them all in the distance, though. Yeah, there's 3 dots on the horizon. The beacons are lit! Gondor calls for aid! Alright, that's a little joke I got. We're gonna have to slowly walk in this direction now for a while. This song's too good to whistle over. And of course, part of the whole planning mess is that any of these guys can move in any direction. So, just improv, just react.
I don't know you from anyone. But maybe in the end that don't matter so much, so long as we're after the same things. Little firelight, little morsel, a minute or 2 of company. Well, I ain't got much. And I sure ain't got more than that. I'll share what I have. You'll do the same for a stranger one day by and by. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs.
Anything exciting? I just see dogs. Do I have any exciting dogs? I don't think I do. Casey Jones. He's like a railroad guy. Is that inspiring and optimistic or exciting? I'm bad at telling which things count as exciting. I'm bad at this game, is what I'm learning. Ichabod Crane is scary, isn't it? I don't know. Exciting might be one of the most ambiguous concepts, except for when it's like a shootout, like this one. This started as a shootout with ladies.
You'd be popular at mealtime where I'm from. You'd keep a whole crew glued, I bet. Authority means being afraid, even though you know you're not the one in the wrong. And you can't show your fear, because you got all the others counting on you, looking to you about what to do. I had no time to get frightened, not even when they were dragging Union men and strangers alike out to the hills to get shot on suspicion of being Reds. You just had to tell the workers again and again how it was going to go right for them in the end. Even though sometimes I wasn't so sure myself. Anyway, I need something to laugh about. Got any funny ones?
Taking the communists out to get shot. That's the thing that people who are right do. Right? Shoot everyone that disagrees.
Oh boy, you watch out now, I'll start chuckling. Joy is when you speak up for your brother, and then he speaks up for you. If you gotta stand on a firing line, to know you won't be standing alone. Got any hopeful stories to tell? I need something like that.
I'd like to not stand on a firing lane if it's all the same to you.
Still can't say exactly where I'll be tomorrow. You ever get a loose thread, and when you pull it, the whole works come apart? Every one of us gets mastered by something. You try to get out from under it. What if you never get to know if you done right? You ever, you know?
My goal is kind of to wrap this up as fast as possible on the East Coast, because I've already explored this area. So I'm sticking to high-level stories and all that. Wow. There's 4 different fires on the horizon. But once I go back to the West Coast, I think I'm going to go back to level 1 stories, and I'm going to try to level up new ones so that we can, you know, experience and like what some of the stories are more. But this area is pretty explored, so my goal is just to clear out the characters, these 4, then we can go back and deal with the other issues. I should probably go up there and try to shepherd here. The paths are not clean, but I figure I should try to, like, shepherd them all down the cone and try to keep them all together. Because that guy went even further south. But there's a guy hiding all the way up here. I can actually see them all, which is convenient. All 4 of them. Looking forward to getting back to the west coast, or not back to, start getting there at all. Both because I might start recognizing some stories, even though I don't know what to recognize. I can't, it's hard for me to think of folklore, like American folklore. It's weird to think about. I kind of associate everybody else, all the other countries and cultures as having folklore. There's like a newness to the United States that feels like you wouldn't really have those kinds of stories necessarily. And yet this game's proven me wrong. They just don't reach me, I guess. I don't know what the context is where a lot of these stories would even come up. Is it just the idea that it's just like stories that the grandpa tells the kids or something, or like I literally don't even know, because it's not like an educational thing, so you don't like learn about it in school. I don't know.
When everything has left you, all that remains is a peculiar peace.
God damn, you okay? He's split clean in half between the soldier and the wounded veteran.
It's hard to keep it, especially considering the panic that comes on sometimes. Sometimes when it's hard to breathe. Truthfully, the leg being gone is bad enough, but the way people look at you, that's when I miss being whole the most. Do you know any happy stories? Hopeful ones?
I think the idea of this appearance is that he constantly has one foot in 2 different countries and in 2 different eras of his life. So he perpetually feels like he's living 2 different existences. It's a symptom of PTSD, is the way that, like, when you are reminded of certain traumas, which is when you get triggered, you actually get sent right back to the exact moment that it happened in. Like, you re-experience it like it's actually happening now. So these kinds of people can't move on from their own past because their past won't go away. Oh, you can hide at the top to get reminded of what he wants. That's useful. Hopeful stories. The molasses. Oh, there it is.
For a moment there, just a moment, I felt better about it all too. Joy is a clean garden, a clean life, with my favorite plants all growing together proudly. I'm not sure that I'm capable of enjoying people anymore, but the plants are good company. Tell me a happy story. Something to make the world seem kind.
Insensitive garbage people, of course, always react to it silly in shitty ways and joke about it and everything, but the whole reason why trigger warnings exist as an idea is because the whole point of many kinds of content is to enjoy it in some level, and you're not going to have a good time if it sends you back to a thing that triggers your PTSD symptoms. That's the most basic, courteous thing, is to include a warning about triggering elements of content you're creating, but people are like, how snowflakes, because those people don't have real problems, so they can't relate to people that actually have problems and need that kind of warning in order to, you know, function as people. Something hopeful. In the future, it's gonna be really expensive to ride a taxi. That's hopeful, right? You already know the lighthouse, don't you? Where is the lighthouse? Maybe I unequipped it or something? Hopeful. Yeah, the miraculous canteen that provided water for a whole crew. Stories of plenty.
I liked that one. There's some hope left for you too, you know. Don't give it away too quickly. Wishes fulfilled? If I had my way, I'd go back to a time before the war. But now, I have no wishes. The stars cross the sky. They mean nothing. Know any good jokes? I'm not so good at telling them anymore.
Did I tell you the tree? Oh, I think I used that category up because it shared a category with something else. Something funny. The witch. Delivering curses was considered to be funny, right? Hey!
Wish I could tell that one to my sister. Home, well, what heartless greedmonger decided what plants get to be beautiful and what plants are weeds anyway? Who said that peony has cash value, but a dandelion is worthy of being torn from its home? So anyway, tell me a funny story? You seem like you know a few good ones. Before the war, I had Paul. I wasn't often alone. After the war, it wasn't only my family turning away from me. It was our government turning from what they couldn't bear to see. But remember, no matter what happens to you, you will always have the solidarity of the road and the earth. They will never deny you their company.
Good luck out there, Mason. Well, that's freaky. Oh, that's a really weird graphical issue. Oh, that's really weird. Okay. The way the shadows are rendered, it makes the ocean not appear? Yeah, the water vanishes. It's just more floor. That's super weird looking. Not usually an issue, but I was out on a peninsula and I was like, where's the land? Which way do I go? Because I know I'm surrounded by water, right? But it all disappeared in that moment. That's like the only spot in the entire map where it would actually even be noticeable that the water had vanished under the clouds. Everywhere else it doesn't matter. Looks like rivers are rendered differently though, because those clouds weren't taking out the rivers. But the ocean just vanishes entirely. I still really like this art style. The high contrast skeleton going over the like micro scale version of the United States.
You seem an alright sort, stranger, but there are some real bums out there, and I ain't talking about folks who are down on their luck.
Son of a bitch. Wow. I wonder if this is supposed to symbolize guarded nature and it's like a tendency towards lashing out and self-defense and all that. A kid wandering out on his own seems friendly enough, but he's constantly having to look out for himself. So I wonder if this represents the idea of him being a bundle of nerves. Even the dogs are inside of the coat like it's a den, and they're guarding against anything that might approach. All they have is each other. They're all bundled together. Almost like a version of that idea of a bunch of kids being stacked up in a trench coat to pretend to be an adult. But in this case, it's one kid and two dogs. It's a hell of an image.
Got myself run off from a nice spot I done set all up a few miles back for winter. Ain't the first time I've been run off. Let me tell you about the bunch of Judases what raised me. I was oldest, had a brother and a baby sister. The farm was small, but it weren't sad and all full of ruination in the early days. But I suppose my ma and pa couldn't make a go of it. When things started getting depressed and tight, every damn thing started to fall to pieces. First, they stole from us, money we'd been saving or earned, things they could sell. Then they abandoned my brother, letting him die instead of calling a doctor. Then they sent me on my way, saying they couldn't provide no more, that I was too big for 'em to keep. I want to hear one of them venturing tales. Got any?
One of them venturesome tales. You probably know the shootout, right? 'Cause that was like my first story in the entire game. Yeah, and you're the first character I met. Doesn't really help me out here. Grifter's getting written out on a rail? Is that adventuresome? I don't even know. Adventuresome. What did I tell that guy earlier? Oh, no, he was looking for something happy, I think. No? Oh, fuck. The gunshot. It did the double click again.
I usually like the scary stuff, but your story needed more punch, I think. I'll tell you about death. My brother, my little 7-year-old brother, slowly dying as they shouted back and forth about what to do, about money and hope and the Lord's protection. White as a ghost he was, and in terrible pain. Appendicitis ain't no easy way to die, stranger. I close my eyes and I can still see his little face, hurting and confused and praying for a miracle. How can I ever move on from that? Can't run from your own memories, though I surely have tried. Hey, tell me one of those exciting stories.
Exciting stories. I think exciting and adventuresome might be the same category. Going back to the tutorial. I don't know, so many of these stories are dark. It's hard to think of any of them as being adventuresome. I think that might be the most ambiguous category of them all. Basically, it's unless there's like a chase or a shootout, it's really hard to tell which ones might be exciting, adventuresome stories. I'll just cheat, quote unquote. At least I'll make some progress instead of what happened last time.
Whoa, quite a story, stranger. I'm being trapped. I've tried my best to make sense of it all, and from what I done seen, the more you have, the more you're tied down. Responsibility to lash you to the ground so you can't move an inch. Playing a game only other folks are winning. You got any stories that are a little sad?
A little sad. I think I've got plenty of stories that are sad. Like the guy who couldn't find a job. Swim into the ocean.
I don't usually like the sad ones, but that sure was beautiful. Thank you. The future's slippery, I'll admit, stranger. I don't rightly know what the future's got in store for me. I make my way just fine presently, but I'm only getting older, and I fear folk'll have less kindness for me as I do. Is there gonna be a good place for me somewhere in all this wilderness? I want a story that scares me. Now I'm older, almost nobody can do it. Give me your best shot.
Let me tell you the legendary tale of Ichabod Crane. Or did I use that category up? Something else? Whatever, I got scary stories. Shit, you know that one too. Stop knowing, oh yeah, the apples are funny. The apple cats. Killed his brother from beyond the grave.
Wow, that's the stuff, stranger. Spooky campfire tales are my favorite. Makes me think of my family. Things were bad way before my folks turned betrayer on me. Daddy was a harsh, mean man, cold and fierce, always on about discipline and living hard but true. Huh, sad when I think on it. Mama was a limp sort, acted like she got all her caring out of the way long before you came along. Empty folk who couldn't keep what they had. I want to hear a story about ghosts or murderers or something. Scary stuff.
Should be easy as long as I don't have an accidental weird double click. Got a lot of scary stories, if I can remember them. Story of the farmers who lured travelers into their home with lemon and fed them to their cannibal son.
You spin a good yarn. I was shivering there for a little bit. You know, though, I'm sick to death of talking about faith or getting wishes granted. Gotta trust in the Lord, Quinn, they said as my brother lay dying. My folks too damn prideful to send for a doctor they knew they couldn't pay for. Gotta trust in the Lord, they said, but he didn't provide neither. I never wished for anything more than I wished to keep my brother, but wishing never did a damn thing for nobody. My oh my, stranger, listen to me blubbering on about my woes. I reckon it's something about you what brings it out of folks. You're searching for something great, something holy, aren't you? But you don't figure you're gonna find it. And you wonder if it can't be found at all, or if it's just you that can't find it. Really eats at you, don't it? I can see it in you. Anyway, I best be getting on. I think I'll see what's happening up the road. Take care of yourself, stranger.
Yeah, that's something that might send you wandering off, never to be found again. Unmoored from your existing family and all that. Is trusting the system to look out for you and the people in your life, and then being proven wrong and watching the system fail. Like all decently voice acted children, that one's voice acted by like a 40-year-old woman, because they pretty much always are. What is her? I think her name's Melissa Hutchinson. She played Clementine in The Walking Dead and a few other recognizable characters. I don't think she's the same voice actor that played Lightning and Liara, because those are voice acted by the same person, but I'm not sure if that was Clementine or not. I think that might be another second person that I'm mixing up. A new story. Hey. And a level up. Always do the level up first, because it respawns whenever you do a campfire. I was telling you about the invisible gunslinger. Takes a couple minutes to be recognized as the story of the gunshot man outside the saloon. He became the invisible gunslinger just because there wasn't a person who did the shooting in the story, I guess? Huh. This is where genre gets confusing, because a guy dying of a gunshot slowly in your hands sounds like a sad story, but an invisible gunslinger sounds like an adventuresome story.
You hear the whippoorwill first, shrill and close. Then you see him, high up above the black streaks of wires. A lineman, fraying belt holding him to the pole. A damned bird has come to perch on a power line, stare hungrily at the man's soul.
Watch him.
He's unsteady. His hands are shaky, and his body sways in the wind. You spot his tool bag next to the pole, worn and frayed, much like the man. A half-gone bottle of cheap rye pokes out of it.
Walk away.
You leave the man to his work and his vices. The whippoorwill cheers you on. Whatever it's waiting for from the drunkard lineman, it'll eventually get. As you walk away, for a long time, you still hear its cry. Whippoorwill, whippoorwill, whippoorwill.
Maybe he would have reacted if I took it and something might have happened. I feel like a certain amount of distress might cause an accident if I interrupt or so on, or steal his shit. But the fact that he's drinking, doing a dangerous job might lead to an accident at the job too. Or is the bird going to become the core of the story?
Some people like to think of porters as some special kind of black folks. I suppose that's true. I know I don't always correct them. But we ain't special. Not really. No matter where I go in this country, I'm a black man before anything else. That was true before I put on this uniform, and it's gonna be true long after I'm buried. Anyway, you must have some funny stories to tell. Share one.
All these interchangeable masks. Interesting. Back in high school, I read The Invisible Man, which is not... It's not the H.G. Wells story about a guy who's literally invisible, but instead it's a riff on the idea of how if you were a black person in society, especially in a particular era, but maybe in certain era, maybe even to nowadays to different extents, in certain circles you would just sort of blend in, especially in like the peak of like post-slavery but still high-level racism elements, the Jim Crow and all that, and a lot of other messy system. I don't know, I don't remember the exact time the book was set anymore, but he was the Invisible Man because he could just go in and out of various parts of society, and he was just another interchangeable black man. That's the core of his invisibility. It's not that he was literally invisible, it's that he wasn't recognized as a person. And it seems like that's this guy's relationship with race here, that's being demonstrated, is that he could be any of these people, and he's one of just many forces amongst the people that do his job, and all of them are like sort of just these interchangeable figures that are doing what they're doing. Sort of the ever-present help. You wanted funny? I got my tree. That's my go-to these days, apparently.
I'll keep this story in my pocket for sure. It'll make some passenger laugh. I had a moment of joy the other day when I met a porter by the name of Oscar Michelle. Brother showed me some of those moving pictures they got now. He's been working on some of his own too. Glad to know they ain't just for white folks. Have any optimistic tales? I'd like to hear one of those.
Do I still have my molasses, or did I just spend that? Was it the same category? Optimism. You already told you about the canteen. I think Johnny Appleseed was originally sad. It would be smart to have like a mathematically averaged out thing where I have an equal number of stories of each category. It would just take a long time to categorize. 3 stories per 16 categories. Like, you have to like actually like chronicle them out by hand and total them out, as opposed to just picking stuff. A hopeful story. Do you know about these guys yet? You know the lamp. Do you know the brothers? You know the brothers. Yeah, I've been spending happy stories on you. No, it did the thing. Stop.
So, does that one scare you? Not sure about me. Authority. Well, delivering the news is how we shape our own stories. Telling tales is one thing, but putting them on paper makes it all the more real. Anyway, I'm in the mood for a good happy story. You got any?
Happy I can do. I think I've got a few you don't know yet, right? Fuck! It did it again! Hey!
Just like I told you, friend. Miles of smiles.
Accidental success.
Trust. There's nothing like being a working traveling man to let you know that money is the only thing you can trust in America. Every person, every town, every train. It's the same story. Have any optimistic tales? I'd like to hear one of those.
Optimistic. I think I might give up. I got Dupree over here. She's got to be worth something.
A positive attitude. That's what I like to hear. Luck. Oh, I'm lucky. Real lucky. I feel guilty complaining like I do. With this job, I'm a hell of a lot better off than plenty of other black folks I know. I think about that, my relative fortunes, and it takes some of the sting off. You got any stories with a bit of excitement to them?
Excitement. Did I tell you about these ladies yet? Are they gone? They might be gone. I'll just tell you about Althea.
I hear that story on the radio? You told it better, though. Traps? Well, I'm about as free as a black man can get. But there's still so much that's got me trapped. My train, my boss, my money, my face, my smile. Seeing yourself as just one part of a whole people can make you feel real small. I believe some black folks become porters to try to get above all that. But they just end up feeling small in a different type of way. I think of all I am in all the masks I wear. Franklin, black man, Pullman porter, railroad man, union man, and how none tell the whole story. So why try? It's freeing to know you mean more than what other folks think. So what about you, friend? Who are you, completely?
There he goes. So he took the interpretation of multiple masks all representing him. So the connection that was shown between the masks could be symbolic of the connection between all the different people that are also wearing masks, or from his subsection, or it could be how each of them are all this connected tissue because they're all of his masks. So each one's a fragment of one whole, and you can't really wear them collectively. Can I use this? I don't think I can. That's it. That's it for the entire East Coast. It's just this guy over here. We're making progress all of a sudden. Ain't that something? Makes the overwhelming scale of how many tasks there were to do a lot more digestible when you carve it up. And also see how those pieces get finished. There are so many repeating town names throughout all of the United States. I mean, I know a Richmond, but it ain't over here. Did I forget to check the updated story next to that guy? I think I did. Oh well. You listen as the man on the radio finishes a wild story about the lawless town where outsiders are murdered after dark. God damn. I mean, I might have gotten murdered after dark. I hid, so I never really found out the consequences. It's not a great place.
You're free to sit down by me here as anywhere. Wouldn't that be something if that were true? Fact is, I ain't safe for you. You get found with me tonight, they'll think you're Union too, no matter what you tell them. Even when it seems we're all alone, and you've done nothing to deserve it, you ain't free. I do appreciate the company. If we make it through the night, be sure to say you ain't never met me. For us both. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs.
Something exciting? Are you exciting? The deer? Come on. Spooky deer.
Come on,
Ah.
tell me something true. Freedom. At the end of the day, I just want to say where my bones go. Don't seem like too much to ask. Anyway, maybe tell me some scary story. I'd like that.
What category even is the deer? I'm genuinely unsure. Do I have... Ichabod, the ghastly legend of Ichabod Crane.
Working hard to scare me, ain't you? That's a good one. Imprisonment. If I'm honest, friend, I'm scared almost every day. And I think a lot about how it could have been worse. Could have died when I was a child, like a mule in the mine. Could have spent days starving for air and light before I kicked it. Could have let these men with their felt hats and their women with the poodles and pearls run machines over me and my friends and family my whole life, and well into the after. One word of advice. A life on the run is no life for a living thing. But sometimes it's better than being run over. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs.
Oh, exciting is a scary category. I think I'm gonna visit Dupree.
Brings me back. There was a time when me and Big Ben could just enjoy exciting stories like this one. Innocent. Luck. When you know you ain't gonna be alone in it, that's when you know you struck it lucky. Where's it you headed from here, friend? Alone, right? Got any funny stories? Must have a couple.
I do got a couple. Damn, you know that one. Oh wait, no, you don't know about the apple cats though. So I got that going for me.
You got some wit, stranger. Joy, one thing they never tell you in the Union is that it's hard to put your hand out to another. Frightful even. You don't know the road that runs from their fingers to their heart. But when they take your hand back and hold it, you know you've seen something in each other. That's what being alive is all about to me. Anyway, I need something to laugh about. Got any funny ones?
Thankfully, I'm successful now, so I can just kind of run with it.
You reading me out of a dime novel? That stuff ain't true. The future keeps me going. Last night, I slept lying in the mud like a hunted animal when a sound come and wake me. I thought, it's Baldwin dogs. Though if it had been, I wouldn't have got me up again. And here I am. Howl ripped through the dark. Sounded like someone crying, no, no, no. I woke up with a chill. But it's still the best dream I've had since I left home. I reckon it's a premonition. Someone asked the people, are you going to go on and keep taking it? And all together, the living and the dead were rising up to say no, no, no. Hey, what's freedom mean to you? You can sit here with me tonight, break my bread, stoke the fire, count the stars, and then maybe I'll keep the first watch. It's a sign of friendship, and you keep the next. We make it on like that till the sunrise and we're close enough to free, ain't we?
Little Ben looked out for each other, and then he was gone. So was everybody on the East Coast. Ah, progress. This country's getting smaller. And maybe a little more familiar. Gonna visit my way out to California. Place I've actually been to before. I'm a bad American. Yeah, this is all filled out now. A lot of this is filled in. This art's so good. A glowing blue flame. The soul of a musician without choices. I think I've read that before. Beautiful brass conductor's pocket watch. It's broken, though the hand stops at 11:59. 1 minute to midnight. Dusty dried sunflower. An acorn that tinkles like a little silver bell whenever it moves. A bandana, threadbare and slightly greasy, smelling of wood smoke and dogs. Shell casing of a bullet worn by Handlin. Lump of glittering fool's gold, heavy, beautiful, and worthless. Oh god. What'd that guy give me? Denver. I think that's what I'm looking for. The cowboy? Denver, Colorado, right? We should be way the hell out here. Yeah, there's the mountains. Yeah, there we go. Thankfully, I picked that up right before I left. Right before I died and got teleported back to the beginning. We got that going for me. We'll spend the rest of the time in red and green zone now, having finished these 3 entire regions, I suppose. Unless these guys go running off into those directions. We should have a lot of new stories coming our way. All right, I'm gonna take a little break, and between episodes, I'm going to swap out all these stories for low-level ones when I can, at least. I think I still have some categories where I still, yeah, like this one, where I still can't swap stories at all. I just only have 3 of the entire category, impressively. Maybe I'll find more of them over here. Hey, oh yeah, that category is 1 too.